Let's talk about some of the features in sewing. On the main screen, the first thing that you notice is your stitch that's selected, and right now it's a straight stitch. If I select a different stitch, you'll notice the graphic is changing. And one thing that's nice about the machine is if I change the length or the width of this stitch, I get a visible indication of what it's going to look like when I sew it out. I can change the color by pressing the color spool, and I can also select to enlarge it by looking at it in this view. This is at 100%, and I can increase that size up to 200%. And if I choose OK, it takes me back to this menu. The other thing I can do is turn on my camera, and I can see what that stitch is going to look like against the fabric that I have. If I want to shift this over to the left, I can use the minus. If I want to shift it to the right, I can use the plus. And if I want to go back to my standard settings, I can choose reset. But let's say I want to save this particular setting in memory. All I have to do is select memory, and now that has been saved. If I go to retrieve, you can see where I've saved 4 different stitch combinations, and these are with different widths and lengths, and in this case with the shift I can save up to 5 for each stitch that's in the machine. So just think about the possibilities. If I want to back out of this, I can press cancel, but if I wanted to delete that last one, all I have to do is choose delete and OK, and it's deleted it from the memory. If I choose cancel now, it returns, and the screen, I'll turn this camera off, the screen still has this shift. If I choose reset, I'm back to the normal width. I can go to the number 2 menu, and there are more utility stitches, and then number 3, there are some decorative stitches. If I choose 4, I go into buttonholes. We'll cover that under a separate video. And number 5, these are directional stitches, and we'll talk about those in a separate video. And Q is the quilt menu that has several stitches that you might use for crazy quilting. A lot of these stitches can be found in other places on your machine. Let's go back to number 1, and let's talk about these buttons here. This is the button that is used for automatic reinforcement, and I'll cover that under another video, but what it does is it will automatically reinforce the stitch at the end when you press the back button on the head of your machine. This is to cut at the end of of your stitching automatically. We'll turn those off. This is for pivoting, and this is so that your machine will hover as you're sewing and with the needle down. If you notice that my needle is down on this screen, and that is a setting under page 4, the needle up, needle down position. I typically sew with the needle down because that's what I like to do. We'll turn this off, and this is for the laser, and the laser beam on your screen. If we go back with the camera on, you can possibly see the laser light on the fabric. Let me shift this or change it back to a straight stitch. Let's change this to black, and you can see the red laser light. Now if I want to move the laser to the left, I can do that. It will go as far as 3.5 millimeters, which is about a half of an inch, and then it will go to the right. . to 15.5 millimeters.